Hello guys, welcome back to another tutorial video. Wanted to show you, this was a question that came up after doing one of my previous tutorials, this one here. So this guy was built with taking inspiration from Road Dog's tutorial on how to build a braided and woven paracord sling. The question is, as you can see here, the way that I built this, the pouch tends to kind of overlap here at the ends, because there was one step that I omitted in his tutorial when I did this one, of joining these two sections of the pouch together for a little bit, first couple of weaves at the beginning and end of the pouch. The benefit to doing this, as you can see in this sample here, if you do weave them together a little bit, they kind of tend to lay flat and lay more side by side instead of having this over the top overlap that we get on this other design. So this tutorial video here is going to be just a really condensed short version of just showing how to do that initial reinforcement technique at the beginning and the end of the pouch. So since I had to remake this sling that I did the other day, here I've already started the process on this one here. Now, give me a second. This inexpensive paracord it tends to want to twist up and doesn't work as nicely as maybe more expensive paracord or better quality paracord might. So you have to bear with me as I try to get this guy straightened out. But what we'll do is we'll start with the 2-strand side on the right this time. Take our cord. If you followed the other tutorial, or if you're doing this style, we're just going to pretend that we're going right into the pouch here. So over, under, but in this instance we're going to go over again on the first set of the other side of the pouch. And then instead of going under this one and back over, we're just going to go under this one, over this one, and under the outside again. And it should look like that. Now let's do that one more time. You can do it once. I only did it once on this example here, but let's do it a second time. We'll go over the outside, under the second, over the third, then go back under, over, under. Pull it down tight. And now we're just going to work one side. Like so. So now I'm going to go ahead and work this all the way down to the end, and I will see when I finish that particular process. Okay, so here I am at the end of the pouch. Now, you see I've got just a little bit of gap here. Let's say that's about 1/2 inch or so. I'm going to leave this side alone for now, but you can see I've squished this down where these weaves are really tight, because you don't want to end up with the issue I had on the first time I tried this design. Because I was trying to keep it a little bit looser, but learn my lesson, and I wanted to pass that knowledge along to you guys. So now we've finished with this part. We're going to set this aside for now, and we're going to start on the other side. So we go over, under, because this is such a tight gap right here, we got a thread through, I find it's easier to grab the end of the paracord rather than trying to push a loop through it. So give me just a second to find the end of that paracord here. push through here. So we went over, oops, get down here where you can see, over, under, and then over the first one in that first side that we did. Did that same process on the first side, we're just doing it on the second side now. Oops, make sure you don't pick up that extra strand. We want to keep that guy out of the way. So now we went over that one, so we're going under, over, under. And pull it back out to the right. Grab our end again, because we're going back to that tight side. Over, under, over. Come on. And using that same one, come back over to the left, or under to the left. Try that again. Under the left, from the left to the right, over, under. So that's two, just like we did on the first side. And we go back to doing just the one side. And keep it all bunched up. Now, the reason we didn't do where we start going in between these guys is because we want to make sure this pouch is even when we finish out the second side. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here. We're going to get to this side. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll discuss how to get the ends finished out on this particular style of sling when we get done with that. So I want to point something out as we're getting close to the end of this. I'm just going to take a quick break here and show you. This here was a little bit looser, and when I did that, this one tended to be a little bit more curved, and this one was a lot straighter. As you're trying to get your adjustments to get these guys to where they match, make sure you keep these guys tight, and that'll help you to see that this is even as we go across. So again, I'm going to go ahead and finish this guy out. Just want to pause for a second to help you see if you're trying to figure out how to know whether or not you're getting your pouch even, that's how you would do so. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this. I'll see you in a second. Alright, so I've done a few more stitches, or a few more weaves rather. Now, I've got something sharp and pokey here. This is kind of where Road Dog's tutorial started, and he talked about using a chopstick. And if I know other people, including myself, got a little confused because he doesn't really show what he's doing. He just describes it. And so it makes it a little hard to understand. That's why we're doing this video here, so you can kind of see how Road Dog was doing that without necessarily having to try to figure it out on your own. So we're getting really close to the end of this weave, and this is getting really tight, and it's getting almost too difficult for me to pass that paracord through without making some space. So I've just taken a paracord needle. I had that handy. You could use a pencil, you could use a pen. It doesn't really matter, just something, you know, chopstick, something pointy to open up that weave a little bit so you can get those last couple of weaves in there. So we've got just the slightest bit of room left here. What we're going to do now, this is where Road Dog was talking about doing this on his tutorial. We need to try to figure out how to get this weave that we're working on now through this side. And this stuff is really, really tight now. So let's come down here. I'm going to say, let's do one below the first one. So this was the first of the wraps from this side that went under, or not under, but sorry, into the second side here. The first one was back here. This is the second one. So let's come under that one right here. Try not to puncture my paracord as I'm going through here. So there we go. Now we're kind of poking out the back side. I want to open that up. Just kind of create some space. And we want to try to push this piece of paracord through that space. And this can be really tricky. Now, if you have a paracord needle like I do here, go ahead and just thread it onto your paracord and make it a lot easier to thread this through here. If you've seen my videos, you kind of notice perhaps that I try not to use a bunch of specialized equipment. Not everybody has one of these. Not everybody has availability to buy them locally. I had to buy mine online. So I try not to use anything that you're not going to be able to use or that you're not going to have. That's why I mentioned using a pen or a chopstick. Or, you know, if you're getting Chinese takeout, you might have a chopstick that comes with it. Try using that and see if you can get that, you know, something similar to help you get the job done. So what I did was I opened that up and I just used this needle here to kind of push that paracord through there. You see how nicely flat that lays now? So nice. All right, so now let's go back from the back side. You know, like we were doing before. We just went, you know, we were going this direction. So since it's coming under from this side, we're going to go over, under our first side over here, and then out through the middle again. And so as we go over, let's flip it over so we can see what we're doing. Grab our needle, come on top of the last one we did here. Needle, pen, other sharp, pokey device, whatever you have. Open up some space. Grab the end of your paracord. Pull your sharp, pokey thing out. Pass this into that hole. Pull it back through. Now let's come back over. On top of our last weave that we just did. Create some space. Grab the end of our paracord. Go back through the hole. Now, if you see here, this is where we went over and crossed. I believe, yeah. So, no, actually it was this one here. Sorry, I lie. Went over from this one here. So let's go on top of that guy. So let's go right here. Because we're working on the side we're currently working on. So let's come up through this spot right here. Open up some space. Grab the end of our paracord. Get back in there. Okay, so now this is the last time we're going to do this. We're going to go right here because our weave is laying right on top like this. Just keep it right on top. Go right back into this hole here. Create some space. Grab the end of our paracord. Go through the weave. If it won't go through on its own, give it some help. And look at me calling myself a liar. I said this was going to be a brief tutorial. We're already at 14.5 minutes, but hey, it is what it is. I want to make sure you guys have all the information you're looking for. So, this is the first side we're working on. I've now flipped the work so we can see what we're doing. I'm going to go back into that gap again. It's getting really tight in here, so just try to make the space as big as you can. It's going to be, ooh, there we go. Make sure it's left of our pouch in the middle. So right there, into the paracord, pass it through, give it some help, So we went back through. Now we're going to flip it over so we can see the side we're currently working on. And it's going from front to back again because we just came out this way from the back to the front. Now we're going to go back this direction. Get on top of our weave in between the two core strands. End of the paracord. Through here. And it's getting tight, so give it some help. And so there you have it, guys. As you can see, this style of pouch lays so much flatter than this style here, the way that I did the first one. The advantage to this might be that as the projectile is releasing, you've got less things in the way. I might tend to push that ball one way or the other, your ball or your rock. So this should help you, for one, keep your pouch laying nice and flat the way you want it to be, but also give you a cleaner release. So that's how I've done this one side here. That's how you would do that for both sides. I won't show you how to do that because that's not necessary for just this particular video. But I hope you guys found this tutorial informative. I hope it was helpful. It maybe helped clear up the questions you might have had if you watched Road Dog's tutorial or my previous tutorial doing this one where I mentioned that particular technique. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it informative, maybe consider liking and subscribing to the channel. I'm going to have more tutorials to come. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it and have a good day.